Public Library, the Central Branch, and tonight we are doing a town hall Q&A with Brenda Buchanan and Kelly Dieter, our 54th District State Representatives. They're going to do a Q&A with us. We're going to give them a chance to tell us about themselves, but first, everybody rise and let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we, as always, have our special guest, our 5th Ward Councilman. We're in his ward, and I'm honored to have him here again, Mr. Brad Armstrong.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. Glad to see these two faces because I always get a question. When it comes to voting, people ask me, they say, who are these people? And I'm like, well, if you wait till October to try to figure out, you're going to be a little lost. So this is a great opportunity to let these fine ladies explain what potentially their plans are. And I'm just so grateful for y'all time to come on out to my ward and explain these people. Thank y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Armstrong. All right, we're going to go ahead, pick a number between 1 and 5.
4.
Number between 1 and 5. It is 2. So you get to go first, Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, Kelly Dieter. She's going to take a couple minutes and tell you all about herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for coming this evening. And thank you, Russ, for putting this on. And of course, thank you, Brenda, for agreeing to talk this evening. My name is Kelly Dieter, and I am the Republican nominee for state representative for the 54th House District. That district will include, starting January 1st, the majority of Huron County and all of Western and Southern Lorain County. That's due to some redistricting that occurred on schedule. I have lived and worked in Huron County most of my life. I am married to an Army veteran. We have 6 children. Education background includes a doctorate of nursing practice. I am a nurse practitioner and a nurse anesthetist. I am a small business owner. I own an anesthesia company that serves surgery centers and hospitals with anesthesia personnel. And also I provide the anesthesia. So I put people to sleep, but more importantly, I wake them up. I also spent the last 10 years as the government relations director for the Ohio State Association of Nurse Anesthetists, where I became very experienced in policymaking, particularly as it relates to healthcare policy. And that was initially my motivation for deciding to run. But my main primary motivation for running is to serve and give back to the community, particularly the 54th House District, and to help just shepherd conservative policies to address the state's issues, prioritizing fiscal discipline, prudent spending, a kind of a simpler and lowest possible tax structure, and protecting our constitutional rights and freedoms as well. So,
Thank you, Kelly. Brenda?
Thank you, Russ, for having me, and thank you, Kelly, for being here. And thank
Brenda
you
Buchanan, by the way. We got to use last names so people get to know who you people are.
That's fine. That's fine. My name is Brenda Buchanan, and I grew up in Berea, Ohio, which is right next to Lorain County. I went to Kent State, and I majored in radio and TV, and I've been working for nearly 40 years as a radio traffic director, which means I schedule the commercials. I do not go up in the helicopter. I worked in Cleveland radio for years, and after the pandemic, they sent us to work from home. I currently am the regional supervisor for the New England region of Odyssey Radio, which includes Boston, Springfield, Providence, Richmond, and Norfolk. I manage 22 stations in 5 markets, plus a staff of 10. My husband and I moved to Columbia Station 30 years ago after we had our first child because I didn't like how big the school was that I went to school at, and Columbia was nice and small, and we raised our 2 boys there. In 2006, they put a levy on the ballot in Columbia for the schools, and I was against it because I thought it was too much money. And I went to the school board meeting, and I discovered there's a huge disconnect between the board and the community. So I decided to run for the school board because I thought we needed somebody to bring everybody together in the community to get the information out for people to make good decisions. And in my 10 years on the board, we did that. I ushered us into the digital age. I also, speaking of being fiscally conservative, I started on the board in 2008, which was a very difficult economic time. So we learned how to manage taxpayers' money in a very conservative fashion. I mean, we ended up making cuts, etc. I decided to run because I've been working with the rural Dems for the last 2 years. I've been doing their social media, which was what I could contribute while I was working. And I decided that I wanted to do more than just social media, that I wanted to be a part of the process. So that's why I decided to run. I think I have the government background to go down to Columbus and help people work together and get things done, because I don't think we're getting enough done down there that involves the people of Ohio. And I just think I'm the person that can do that. I mean, I know I'm only one of 99 people. I know I'm not going to go down there. It's going to be this great miracle that I'm there to, Mrs. Buchanan goes to Washington. But yeah, I think I can make a difference down there. And that's what I would like to do.
All right, thank you very much, Brenda. Ladies, the way this works, you will each have 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes. If you answer the question in a minute, that's fine. At a minute and a half, you will hear me say 30, just to give you an idea that you have 30 seconds left. Kelly, you went first. Brenda, you're going to pick the first question. You will answer the first question first. Then we will go over and go back and forth, and you will every other question you will grab. So pick a card, any card. All right. Brenda first. Who has funded your campaign and who is your largest contributor?
My largest contributor is Blue Ohio PAC. They've given me the most money. I have had a few endorsements that have given me money, but on the whole, mine has been a grassroots movement. It's mostly been my friends. It's been, the rural Dems, the Huron County Dems, and people who I've been friends with for years who believe in me and believe that I can make a difference.
Okay, the shorter your answers, the more questions you have to answer, just so you know. I'm absolutely kidding. You can't expound on that much more than that. Kelly, your turn. Who has funded your campaign and who is your largest contributor?
I am not 100% sure who my largest contributor is, but I think it's probably between a couple of union representatives as well as the Ohio State Association of Nurse Anesthetists. Otherwise, there are hundreds, so it would be difficult to say, but I have had a lot of support from labor unions because my district has a lot of laborers and I support labor, so they were very eager to support me as well. I have a lot of grassroots as well, supporters, friends, neighbors, family. A lot of the medical organizations, since I was a known advocate for healthcare over the past 10 years, healthcare organizations were also very eager to support me just because they know the work that I've done in the past in Columbus. So I was able to successfully pass a piece of legislation in 2020 that expands access to rural healthcare and attempts to make it more affordable. So I do have the support of a lot of healthcare organizations.
All right, thank you. It is your turn to grab a question.
And we'll just take that crinkled one.
All right, this is to you, Kelly. With all the mudslinging going on in politics, why did you throw your hat in the ring?
My primary motivation is to serve and give back to the community, but also I felt like I got enough experience over the past 10 years and made a lot of relationships in Columbus. And I thought maybe I could leverage those to, positively impact our district. But I would like to add to that it has been an absolute pleasure running against Brenda, and I have a lot of respect for her, just because every time I see her, she's very kind and genuine and respectful. And I really do appreciate that, Brenda.
All right, gonna come to you this time, Brenda. With all the mudslinging going on in politics, why did you throw your hat in the ring?
Well, first of all, I was on a school board for 8 years, and I was called all different kinds of names. I was accused of holding children as human shields to pass levies. So that doesn't bother me at all, to be honest with you. I'm pretty thick-skinned. I know what I'm doing is important, and that means it doesn't matter what you're called, it's what you answer to. So, and again, Kelly has been fantastic. And honestly, the way I look at campaigning is, you know what, it's not my duty to talk about my opponent. It's your duty when you're running for office to talk about you and what you plan to do. And I personally think that should be the law for all advertising, because it's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time to make up things about somebody else, and it's not right. Let's put it that way. It's just not right.
All right. Well, we're going to get a lot of questions. Your turn, Brenda.
Okay.
This goes to you first, Brenda. Your thoughts of boys using girls' restrooms?
You mean like in the trans? Well, I'm not asking why, you didn't write the question. I don't see a problem with it if somebody is working with gender assignment or a trans issue. There are a lot of unisex bathrooms these days, and I don't see that any of these kids pose a threat to the other person. These boys didn't become girls so they could go into a bathroom and rape somebody. It's often more dangerous for them to go into another sex bathroom than it is to, for other reasons. But I don't see a problem with it. I mean, there are stalls. There are stalls in bathrooms, and you don't see another woman going when you go in there. I don't think it should matter.
All right. Same question to you, Kelly. Thoughts of boys using girls' bathrooms?
I oppose men or boys using girls' bathrooms. I have daughters, and that's very important. I do think it's a form of sexual harassment, in my opinion. My husband cannot even tell someone at work that they have a nice dress on without that being considered sexual harassment. I do not think it is appropriate for men or boys to be in women or girls' bathrooms or locker rooms.
All right. Coming back to you, Kelly. Kelly, what is your position on Ohio's issue 1 that will appear on our November ballot? District mapping is what that is.
Yes. So issue 1 is titled the Citizen-Led Anti-Gerrymandering Amendment. And I am making the presumption that it came out of the 3-time redistricting effort since 2020. We've redistricted 3 times. Due to the Supreme Court deeming the maps unconstitutional twice, and now a 3rd time they were voted on in a bipartisan fashion, 7-0. Those are the maps that you are currently going to be voting on starting in January. The candidates will represent those district maps. Regarding issue 1, I oppose issue 1. I think it's easy to romanticize the idea of citizen-led redistricting, power to the people. However, that intimates that it is somehow less partisan or nonpartisan, and I do not believe that will be the case in any way, shape, or form. And I believe that what it does do is make gerrymandering constitutional, because it prioritizes proportionality, and it will not keep communities together at all.
We're not going to have reactions from the audience. You can clap. I don't mind that, but we don't need, and all that going on. So, Brenda, the question to you, what is your position on Ohio's issue 1 that will appear on our November ballot, district mapping?
I would vote yes on issue 1, because gerrymandering for either party is not a good idea. I don't think any party should have control over how the districts are set up. And I'm not just saying Republicans, they do it in New York, the Democrats do it. It's not right there either. I like the idea of a citizen group, because I like the idea, and I've read the whole explanation of how they're going to pick people. And like Kelly and I could not be on the board because we just ran for office, you know. But I like the idea of getting citizens more involved. I think we need to get more people involved in our state and our local government, helping to make decisions. And again, I think gerrymandering is wrong anywhere it happens. So I support issue 1.
All right, your question.
All right. I know.
All right, we kind of had this, but we're going to let them answer again. Who have you particularly been endorsed by?
Who have I been endorsed by?
Yes.
I was just endorsed by Planned Parenthood yesterday. I've been endorsed by the Ohio Federation of Teachers, AFSCME, Council 8 and Retiree Group 1148, the UAW CAP, the Rural County Democrats, and I think that's it. I'm sorry, off the top of my head.
That's fine. All right, same question to you, Kelly. Who have you been endorsed by?
Okay, I will try to remember the list. It is, let's start with people. So Representative Dick Stein, whose seat that we are both running for, Senator Teresa Gavarone, former state representative Terry Boos, the Huron County Commissioners, the Huron County Sheriff. I think that is it for people. Then we'll go to organizations, Local 33 Sheet Metal Workers, the Labor 758, International Brotherhood of Operating Engineers, the Ohio Teamsters, the Ohio Right to Life, the Ohio Gun Owners, Buckeye Firearms Institute. There are several more. The Firelands Association of Realtors, the Ohio State Association of Advanced Practice Nurses, Ohio's Nurses Association, and I'm sorry, but I cannot remember all of them. I'm so sorry. I have a list if you want me to reference it in my
Just
verdict.
post it,
Okay.
yeah. All right, your question. Kelly, name the top 3 things you hope to accomplish in your first term and why.
It's a good question. I think that I have more work to do on healthcare, but I think I would choose issues that are priorities to the state, which I think are currently property tax reform, the housing demand or housing supply rather, as well as our energy needs for the state.
Same to you, Brenda. Name the top 3 things you hope to accomplish in your first term and why.
I would like to, excuse me, I would like to stop the destruction of our public schools. We are giving far too much money to our private schools, and none of it is accountable to anyone. I also would like us to see moving along to update our current laws to match the issue 1 that passed last year, because we still have several laws that work against that constitutional amendment that passed. And also more district specific. I would like to work towards helping our townships. We have 33, 34 townships in our district. And in the last 13 years, they've lost over $30 million in local government funds, and they're struggling. And it's just, you know, these are great little communities, and you just don't want to see them disappear. You know, you want to maintain them. I mean, I know developers come in and everything, but you still have to maintain that sense of community. And that goes along with your, you know, the schools too. You're in a small community, your school is the center of your community. So those are the 3 main things I would like to focus on.
Thank you, Brenda. And your choice. Brenda, how have you prepared for the office you are seeking?
Well, I have done a lot of reading on Ohio Revised Code, which I'm familiar on the school board from working with that. I went down and hung out with Joe Miller, who's the rep for District 54, 53, I'm 54, in Columbus, and basically just learning the steps of how the legislature works. I mean, there's only so much you can learn, I think, before you do it. I can tell you that when I was elected to the school board, everything I thought that it was going to be, it was not. But I'm always anxious to learn new things, and I'm excited to get down there and start learning how it all works.
Kelly, same question. How have you prepared for the office you are seeking?
I have, prior to deciding to run, I mentioned that I had spent many years in Columbus advocating for better healthcare. So that experience, I think, will be very helpful going forward. Just already knowing the intricacies of policymaking, I think that's a big piece. So that experience will be very beneficial in just hitting the ground running. But I spent the last year campaigning. It's been a full year now. I do go to Columbus once a week still to meet with organizations that are outside of healthcare that are not in my expertise, and meet with other legislators as well to learn, how, their perspective on the role of state representative. But meeting with the organizations, I've learned, what the needs of their members need, specifically those in our district. I've had a focus on, and just meeting voters in the district and attending events and local government events. I've attended session most Wednesdays for the past year as well, just to seamlessly transition into the role. So. Trying to talk so that stretch this out.
All right, Kelly, describe what your campaign strategy has been and why you chose it.
So I will probably sort of repeat some of the things that I just stated, but really I've worked with a lot of campaigns over the past 10 years as well. And I think the keys were really meeting voters, as many voters as you can possibly meet, hearing from them. That will change your perspective. A perspective that you thought you had. You can't unsee things that, when you see other people's realities, it's very important. So I've spent most of the time, meeting other voters and raising money. We have to raise money. Unfortunately, campaigns are expensive, so raising money is very important. So I have spent a lot of time, doing that as well. And like I said, going to Columbus and just, shadowing and hearing what's important to other trade associations.
Same to you here, Brenda. Describe what your campaign strategy has been and why you chose it.
Well, like I said, I did social media for the Lorain County, the rural Lorain County Democrats. And so what I did is I do what I call weekly front porch campaign on my Facebook page. I try to do it every week, but it's busy. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes it's 10 o'clock at night and you don't want your neighbors thinking, what the heck are you doing out on your front porch with that ring light? But yeah, so basically that's what I've been trying to do. I have been it's my goal to have visited every township, village, and city meeting in the district by election day, and I'm gonna be right up there. I thought it was important to meet those people, the trustees, because every township's different, every village is different. I wanted to go out and meet people that way, especially meeting the voters. I think it's so hard, it's so easy to judge other people, I'm sure Kelly's found this too, where people will come up to you and say you're the opposite party, but after you talk to them for a couple minutes, you find commonality. So that's why it's so important to get out and talk to people, because they don't realize that at the end of the day, no matter what letter is next to our name, we're trying to do the best that we can to serve you.
or Brenda, sorry, what are your plans to help fund small cities with funding when AARP money is gone?
Only ARPA money?
Yeah, it's
You know what? It's AARP right here, and I got that card like 10 years ago, so
Hey, you get free stuff.
ARPA
No,
money,
not-
yes.
Well, I guess that would be up to working on the budgets in Columbus. Again, I think our small towns have a lot to, especially our townships, have a lot to add. Again, they lost a lot of their local government funding. One of the most important things for our district is the fact that, townships are not home ruled, and everything that gets done there is decided by Columbus. So I think we should work on a budget to get money back to our townships. Also, work with our townships to come up with better ways for them to generate funds, because when you live in a township, you don't pay taxes, which is one of the reasons we moved to a township. But yeah, I think helping them to generate more income. I know several of the townships I visited, they are fixing up all their town halls and they rent them out and they get income from that. So it's not just getting more money from Columbus, it's also helping them devise strategies that they can support themselves.
All right, thank you. Kelly, what are your plans to help fund small cities with funding from ARPA when it drives up?
So that is a great question, whoever asked that, because we are headed toward what I'm calling sort of fiscal cliffs, if you will. The budget, the revenue for the state of Ohio is trending down, and combine that with the ending of the ARPA funds, we all are going to be seeing fiscal cliffs. So that is where prudent spending and fiscal discipline are going to become very important, as are who you elect as your representative, because when it comes to the budget process, which starts January 1st, 2025, and ends May 31st, 2025. It's about a 6-month process. We're the person that's where we go and advocate for our district individually. So we have to really essentially make friends, influence people, and get in the ring and fight for your district. So it is really going to come down to that, to be totally honest. And that is what we're both, I think, going there to do, is get in the ring and make friends, influence people, and fight for our district. So, that is the plan. Of course, no promises can be made because we are only one of 99. But I think we're both acutely aware of, the need for funding to come back to our district. So that will be a priority.
Kelly, what is your experience to qualify you to represent this district?
I think that we've touched on some of that, but I mean, just really 28 years of advocating for patients in healthcare. I think my educational background has prepared me for the role as well. Just overall life experience from every economic position in life. Grew up on food stamps, ended up being very successful in business, and have really had, lived through every phase financially. So I have perspective that I think is unique in that regard, as well as having the perspective of a healthcare provider too. I think that is very unique for the legislature. There's less than a handful of healthcare providers in the legislature, and I do think healthcare is a big issue that we have a lot of work to do on. We are ranked 44th in health value in this country. In the state of Ohio, I think that is inexcusable. That means that 43 other states have less expensive healthcare and better outcomes than the state of Ohio does. So I think that perspective is very important to bring to the legislature.
Brenda, question to you. What is your experience to qualify you to represent this district?
Well, I would say my biggest experience would be my 8 years on the school board. Again, I worked with policy, Ohio Revised Code, managed taxpayer money. We put out a bond issue to build a new school eventually. And we did all of this during a very difficult economic time. So like when our elementary school fell apart, instead of creating this big new elementary school, we just added to the middle school. So, I think I have good experience with managing taxpayers' money. Also, I've been, what I do for a living, traffic is, I literally manage time and money every day to maximize the revenue of the radio stations. And I have always worked with, it's like a little trio, sales, programming, and me. And I'm the person in the middle. And when they're clashing, I'm always the person who has to step in and say, okay, this is what needs to be done to make everything right, to do the best thing for everybody. And I think that experience, on top of my school board experience, gives me a good footing to start in the State House.
I'm going to try on this, the handwriting. We should have brought printers. Can you, I'm not getting this. Basically, it is, can you give your position on biosolids? Thank you. In our townships. Thank you, sir. Let's work on that handwriting. I'm kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. This is your question first, Brenda.
Okay. So I am against using our townships for dumping grounds. I think a lot of people think it's okay because we all have all this land out here to go ahead and dump things out in our districts without, any kind of resolution or et cetera. Again, all township law is based on Ohio Revised Code. So, we shouldn't be out there. It poisons the soil. It causes problems in runoff, et cetera. It's just dangerous. And people think because they just put it in a big field, it's not going to affect anybody, but there's runoff, et cetera. So I'm against that.
All right, Kelly, your position on burying biosolids in our townships.
I would also be opposed to burying biosolids in the townships. I think on a personal level, I would be against it, but also in just being mindful of the people in the district. I've talked to those people and they're very much against the biosolids in their townships. So I would also be against that as well.
Now that was a record answer there. So. All right, your turn. We've already done this one. I'm just going to read it out loud. What endorsements have you received? So we're going to give Kelly another question. This is kind of a, we're going to go for it anyway. What experience do you have that qualifies you to represent the citizens of Ohio's 54th District?
I will just add to what I said before, I think, instead of repeating, but really the biggest preparation, I mean, other than life experience, has been the 10 years working at the State House on healthcare policy. So, just, it was invaluable. I mean, I gave testimony, I want to say 6 times in 3 different General Assemblies. I failed multiple times, and I learned how you succeed after you fail, which is not to give up. And that's what I did, and I was able to improve healthcare for our rural district. So,
question to you, Brenda. What experience do you have that qualifies you to represent the citizens of the 54th District?
Well, I'm going to go back to the school board. It was such a great experience learning about our local government. There are so many, I didn't realize how much of Ohio Revised Code went into setting policy for the schools. Again, working with the taxpayers' money was very important. And the thing that was always interesting to me is people would say, well, you're using children as a human shield to raise this money. And I would look at people and go, my taxes go up too. They do, so that was invaluable, just working with those different groups. bringing the community together. And I know it's a different setting down there. I know when I ran for school board, I said being one of 5 people, I can't promise you anything. And like Kelly said, being one of 99 is crazy. However, I am very persistent on trying to get things done. I'm also, it's very important to me that everybody has the information. And if I don't know something, I have to know it soon. And I have to, I have to look at both sides of it. So being on the school board and working with the people and working with the finance committee, et cetera, I believe that's given me the kind of experience I need for the State House.
Pro-choice, women's health, what will you do to protect it?
Again, I mentioned that one of my goals going down there was to make sure that issue 1 got rid of all the laws that were against abortion. I am very pro-choice. When I did my work with the rural Dems, I worked very hard to get issue 1 passed. And I will work in the State House to get those laws taken off the books so we can have the constitutional amendment in place without any barriers.
Kelly, same question to you. Pro-choice, women's health, what will you do to protect it?
There is not honestly a lot that can be done in terms of what has already been done. It's a constitutional amendment which made abortion legal that was voted on by my bosses, which are the voters. So I cannot undo what has been done. We can only go forward, changing the hearts and minds of people and providing for, the financial resources that we can set aside, if there are any, that we can set aside for, programs for people who do, want to have their child or are having hardships and do find themselves in that situation. There are some pieces of legislation currently, a new one you may have heard of, the Stork Act from Representative Click, that looks at creating a tax deduction for the child beginning at pregnancy, so that may, it may incentivize a mother who is making that decision just strictly based on financial constraints. So things like that we can look at to try to help people who want to keep their child, but really changing the hearts and the minds of people is what we need to focus on going forward.
We'll do this one again. Maybe you can expand on it, ladies.
Okay.
What motivated you to seek this elected position?
Again, I mean, just having the experience of fighting for legislation, fighting for something that really at the end of the day, I was advocating for my patients, to be able to take care of patients and to be able to provide them with health care. So in doing so, I just learned that I'm an advocate for all people, not just my patients. And, the experience that I had motivated me to possibly be able to impact other people from other areas outside of healthcare as well. So, with anything, any needs, right now we have property tax that needs reformed. People are we're literally renting our homes from the government, whether they're paid off or not. That's driving, especially older people from their homes. That, in my opinion, is an urgent matter and needs to be addressed immediately in the first 6 months of the next General Assembly. But it's issues like that I think that I can help impact positively. So, the current challenges of our state, I guess.
Question to you, Brenda. What motivated you to seek this elected position?
Well, I think the whole school question thing was a big motivator for me. When I was on the school board, I was very against the fact that charter schools, this was early in the voucher program, but the charter schools had no accountability for the tax money that they were getting from the state. And to me, that's unacceptable. I mean, in a school district, you can go to a public school and say, what does Mrs. Jones make to teach high school math? And within 24 hours, they have to give you an answer. You go to a private school and they don't, they're not required to by law. And I take it personally that people are spending my tax dollars without any accountability whatsoever. So that is one thing. And actually, there's a bill currently in that asks for accountability from the private school. So I would hope that I could support that. I know that's have to start again after the next in the next assembly. But there's currently a bill in there that's being pushed to the accountability. But I really think that stopping this money going to private schools instead of public schools is ridiculous. Because again, when we talk about the property taxes, so we gave $1 billion. They gave $1 billion last year to private schools. Well, that could have gone to our public schools. And what happens is when they give all the money to the private schools, then the local districts have to go back to the property owners to put more levies on. And of course, the property owners are like, hell no, you just raised our taxes 31%, which wasn't the government's fault. It's just the way the market's going. But these are the kind of things that really motivate me. Uh-oh, we're going to talk slow, Kelly.
Mumble and repeat yourself.
Okay, mumble and repeat. You got it.
How do you feel, this is to you, how do you feel about sanctuary cities in Ohio?
I'll be honest with you, I really don't understand what a sanctuary city is. I would like to see some evidence and learn more about it. That's it.
That's it? Okay.
That's it. I don't want to talk about something I don't know.
I got you. And I told you could do that, didn't
Yes.
I? Okay,
Yes.
very good. Kelly, how do you feel about sanctuary cities in Ohio?
So interestingly, to your point, there's actually not a definition of a sanctuary city that is agreed upon. So I will give you that. But it is well understood that it is a city that makes laws favorable to illegals who live there, right? In Ohio currently, there are 4 cities recognized: Toledo, Columbus, Dayton, and Cincinnati. My biggest concern with sanctuary cities, other than our safety, not knowing who is there, would be our tax dollars funding, the resources that are needed by those individuals.
Here's to Kelly. Good question here. What committee assignments would you like to seek once in office?
So we have about a week to just ask or request committees. You don't necessarily get the committees you request, but I think I would be most amenable to asking for committees where I could lend my expertise. But I will certainly go wherever I feel or wherever they feel I would be most needed. I would ask for the health committee, the finance committee, and the energy committee. If I get a 4th, I would ask for agriculture or Medicare, Medicaid.
Brenda, what committee assignments would you seek once in office?
Education, finance, agriculture, because I don't know as much about agriculture as I would like to, and I think that would be a great way to learn about it. And I really didn't have a 4th. I'll go wherever they put me. Got 15 minutes, 3 minutes a question. We got to roll here.
Brenda, how did you vote in the 2023 August special election, for or against the amendment, and why?
Okay. So, first of all, the state had ruled out that they were going to do any special elections anymore. And then because something came up that they didn't care for, they put a $20 million special election together. I didn't agree with needing the 60% of signatures. I think it really hampered citizens in the state from getting things done that they wanted to. And I voted against that one.
Kelly, same question. How did you vote in the 2023 August special election, for or against the amendment and why?
Not surprisingly, I voted for that amendment because I do think it should be harder to change the Constitution. I think it should be even slightly greater than 60%, to be totally honest.
What is your position on issue 1?
We have addressed that, but we can address that again. So that's the anti-gerrymandering, citizen-led anti-gerrymandering amendment. I think that it is not going to do what it is proposing. I think it's going to divide townships, divide counties, divide cities, and not prioritize anything other than simply the way the votes have turned out over the past 10 years on the look back. It'll then be drawn evenly, 50-50, R&D, and then may the best man win, no matter what that district looks like, even if it's a total snake. So it could include any geographical area just based on votes. I think it makes gerrymandering constitutional, which is what we're trying to avoid. I do have a big problem with military personnel not being allowed to be on the commission. That, in my opinion, is completely inappropriate. And at the end of the day, there's a 52-point process, and at the end of the day, they're drawing out of hats as to who is going to be on the commission. So I don't believe that it'll be less partisan. I don't believe that it'll be nonpartisan. And I think that the system that we have, while it can certainly be improved upon, I think that the fact that the Supreme Court ruled twice in a row that it was unconstitutional redistricting tells me that the process in place does work and has double checks that are appropriate because they were redrawn twice.
I almost got to say 30 seconds that time. What is your position on issue 1?
Again, I'm against gerrymandering. The way some of these districts are drawn, it just doesn't seem right. I don't think anybody should have the power to draw their districts based on to favor one party or the other. I mean, it's that simple. It's like I said, it's not an anti-Republican thing for me. It's an anti-power issue, you know. And again, I like the idea of having politics. I mean, you are never, ever, ever going to get a perfect, non-partisan, non-opinion committee together. But I think we should give it a try. And again, I want to encourage more people to become involved in their government because part of our problem today is people don't pay attention. And I think if we can get people in there and make them a part of the process, I think that's fantastic.
Brenda, do you support Governor DeWine's changes to the State Department of Education?
No. He totally took away the power from the State Board of Education. All they are left to do is teacher licensure. Sorry, that was hard to say. The State Board of Education should be the people who are deciding the curriculum for our schools because a lot of those people are teachers. He's hired one person to do that. And I don't agree with a lot of the curriculum they're looking at for our schools. We have a lot of bills going on now where we talk about teachers being liable to charge with felonies for giving kids banned books. But yeah, no, we should have not taken that power away from the State Board of Education. I mean, and I know it was done under the guise of, well, education and workforce. Well, that's what the education exists for anyway, you know? So I am absolutely, and then they took money away. They borrowed from the state board, and then the board was going to have to be raising teachers' license prices, which is crazy because we don't pay our teachers enough anyway. And they had to go back to the State House and beg to get that money back. So yeah, I'm totally against what he did to the Board of Education.
Kelly, do you support Governor DeWine's changes to the State Department of Education?
Not fully, I partially do. I agree that the Department of Education should exist, and I agree that they should develop the curriculum So from that standpoint, I do not agree with that portion. But I do understand there were some issues. As long as the board is functional, I think that there should be a board, but I believe that the board was not functioning properly at the time, so I think that was the impetus. So it's a yes and a no.
All right, one of two left. Starting with Kelly, what are your thoughts on school choice vouchers and rigorous release time? Thank you. It looks nothing like religious, but okay. Oh, there's an OUS on the end, so.
So I am a proponent of school choice, ed choice. We pay tax dollars for our kids to be educated, and I think parents should have the right to decide where their children are best educated. Sometimes that looks different. I have 6 children. Sometimes that looks different from one child to the other. Some have excelled in public school, some have excelled in private school. So I appreciate the opportunity to use the tax money that I paid in to educate those children where they're best educated. And that should be my choice. And the other portion was yes, so that's LifeWise Academy. I do believe that LifeWise Academy has a place, in society. I think that if a parent thinks their child should, during a non-core class, be allowed to be released for religious instruction, that's up to the parent as well. I think those two go hand in hand, because I think a parent should be able to choose what's right for their children. And if they choose for their child to be released during a non-core class, then I think that should be their right.
All right, Brenda, same question. What are your thoughts on school choice vouchers and religious release time?
Okay, on school choice, everybody has the right to choose where their child goes to school, absolutely. Your tax dollars follow your child where they go. It's no longer, there's one set fund, it follows the student where they go. So, yeah, I mean, I'm for choice, but I am totally against using taxpayer money to fund these schools. And this year, they took the cap off the income amount again, and it's your tax dollars going to schools that have no accountability whatsoever. I mean, if private schools are much better and it's everybody's choice, then let's put that money into our public schools and make them as good as private schools. As for LifeWise, I do not agree with LifeWise. I do not agree, and aside from the whole religion thing, I think it's disruptive to the school day. You have, especially small kids, to keep them rounded up and interested in getting things done is hard enough. Our teachers struggle enough every day in the classroom, and especially in a day where school safety is such an issue, I think it's dangerous to have kids coming and going from school. I just don't think it's right. You're asking the staff to keep track of that, and it's not fair. As for the religious thing, you know what? If you want to teach your kids, you want your kids to have more religious instruction, you can send them to a private religious school. But at the end of the day, their time for religious instruction is your time to use, not the school district's, not something that's going to cause disruption or extra work for our teachers. You take the time. After your kid finishes your homework, sit down and read the Bible with them. On Sunday, go to church, have discussions. This is not the public school's job to release these children for religious instruction. It's a parent's job.
There wasn't anything on this one. And how did that come down to the last one? You know what? I think we have about 5 minutes left. I wanted to pose one question because I Googled state representative's job description and broke that down. Who wants to go first? Put your hand up quick. Okay, you don't even know what you're going to answer, but okay. You get to Columbus, committees start popping up.
Right.
Do you have anything in the plans to say every 2 months I am going to do a town hall in my district, invite all my constituents and give them a chance for me to explain what I'm doing and for them to have a chance to tell me what they expect from me more so?
Yes, absolutely. I was trying to figure out, because I've gotten such good reaction from visiting all the townships and everything. I was like, I wish I could go to every town. No, that's not going to happen while I'm going to Columbus. I cannot visit every township and city and village. I will not live that long. But yes, I am all about getting information out to the constituents. I think it's important that everybody knows what's going on in the district. I think that it's important for them to have direct communication with me or whomever their representative is. I think there's a lot to learn. There are things that I've learned while I'm campaigning, like you don't have to go to testify in front of a committee. You ask for 24 hours ahead of time and you can send a letter and it can become a part of the testimony. There are so many things that people can do to become involved with their government. And just aside from talking to my constituents and telling them what's going on down in Columbus, I want to get them involved with the process. I think the more involved you are with the process, the better the system works.
Kelly, same question to you. You're in Columbus, getting into all the committees. Do you have plans to come back up to the 54 district once a month, every 2 months on a planned date, so your constituents can ask you questions and you can report to them what you're getting done for the 54th district?
In general, the schedule when your state representative is Tuesday, Wednesday, and or Thursday in Columbus. Monday and Fridays are reserved for the district, and that's when you generally have office hours. So certainly it's common practice, and I would plan to have office hours across the district on a Monday or a Friday in the library or a coffee shop, which is customary. So yes, but to your point also, hitting the township meetings cannot continue because it took 1 year to do 33 township meetings to date. So, and the feedback that you get when you're there is no one ever comes to our township meeting, no representatives, but I assure them why that is the case is once you get there, there's no way you can do 33 township meetings on a routine basis.
Okay, Kelly, you did the first bio at the beginning. Brenda, I'm giving each one of you, we have about 3.5 minutes left. I'm going to give you 1.5 minutes to close.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Kelly, for being here. One of the main, I have found when I was on the school board that public service was such a good thing to do to get your people involved in the community. I am all for getting involved with the process. Means I want to involve people in the process with me. I want to do good things down in Columbus that I can. I would like to work with people on both sides of the aisle. I have no, there are bad and good people on both sides. It's not like all Republicans are bad and all Democrats are good. I don't live at either end of the spectrum. I want to work together down in Columbus with people to get things done for the people in this state. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
No, you had 30 more. Okay. Kelly?
Closed? Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you again for having this. Thank you all for attending this evening. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy evenings to support either or both of us. And I would just humbly ask for your vote, and I would appreciate earning your vote if you are on the fence. I think that our state faces critical challenges, and that my background educationally, professionally, and personally have prepared me for the role. So I think I will be a great advocate for the district and the state. And thank you all again for coming.
Round of applause for both candidates, please. I can't tell you who it's going to be yet, but we will be doing another Q&A. I think my battery died. I'm just going to talk right here. Anyway, we're going to do another Q&A in September. Not sure who it's going to be yet, but it'll be somebody who you're going to want to get to know and know more about. Right there. That's what it's all about. I'm Russ from the Russ Van Wormer Radio Show. I am exclusively on DC and Company Radio every Tuesday night from 7 to 8 o'clock. We talk about everything from autism to youth sports to tune in. Check it out. What I'm trying to do is get people to take it upon themselves to get involved. Imagine that. So, maybe an idea comes across. We get you the information to contact these people, that kind of stuff. September 17th, a Tuesday night show. We'll come out of the studio. We're going to the gazebo in the square, Ely Square. And I have 5 organizations that are coming. We will have ATAP, that is Autism Awareness Training, and I always forget the P. But anyway, Justin Mead will be there. Chase Ferris is going to be there from Save Our Children Elyria. Eric Bowens will be there with Elyria Youth Sports Clubs. Brandon Tolliver will be there from Legendary Track Club. And Ethan West will be there with us from Elyria Black Legacy Connection. That's 7 o'clock. We're going to go longer than an hour because we won't be on the air. We're just going to be live right there in the square. So come on, hear these people, see how you can get involved, see where they're headed, and what their future plans are and how you may be able to help them. September 17th, Ely Square. Please join us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. We will see you the next time we do this, hopefully, right here at the Central Branch of the Elyria Public Library. Good night.